So we've heard this a million times. We're all used to it by now. Gen Z will never be able to retire. Gen Z will never be able to get ahead. They'll never be able to buy a house. They'll never be able to have a meaningful life because they're going to spend their entire life working, just trying to survive. I think that's a lot of malarkey. I think that it can be done. I think that this resilient generation that we call Gen Z has some of the best tools, some of the best resources, and the creativity to be able to surpass any generation that we've seen so far. I'm going to show you why the future of Gen Z is going to be brighter than any other generation that we've ever seen. Look, I'm not going to deny it. Living today as a young adult with no huge support system, unless you have like a huge bank account that you got from your parents or something, it's very difficult. It's very difficult. The cost of living is at an all-time high. Inflation is at an all-time high. The job market is literally ridiculous. It is very difficult to get ahead. That's if you play by the rules that we've always played by. But you have to dig a little bit deeper. You have to be a little bit resourceful because we have resources that no other generation has had. We have unlimited access to information, even more than millennials, because guess what, Gen Z, we have AI. A lot of people are just getting out of college and they're not going to be in a work world or in a post-college world or even in a post-high school world without AI. We have so many tools that we can use. We have social media that is at an all-time high now, and things like AI and social media and the internet in general can completely level the playing field. Now picture this. It's 25, 30 years ago. You want to learn how to be a real estate agent. Well, first off, you have to go find someone that can tell you all the steps that you need to become a real estate agent. Maybe you go to the library, maybe that shows you. If you're looking at any skill that you want to learn, 20, 30 years ago, you had to know someone to teach you that skill, or you had to get lucky to find a book on it. And then even when you found that book on it, was that really going to show you as much of sitting down on YouTube and watching a YouTube video of someone walking you through step by step exactly how they did it, what challenges came up, and how they overcame every single challenge? It is a completely different game. You can literally accomplish anything that you want to accomplish these days a lot quicker and a lot easier because you can learn from other people's mistakes, and you can just literally learn step by step how people have done it in the past. If you have the right mindset, literally nothing is going to stop you from doing whatever you want to do. When you can access information at any time, you can wake up at 3 a.m. and say, I really am interested in learning how to play the piano. And you can literally be in the middle of a piano lesson at 3 a.m. and you don't even have to pay anybody. The barrier of pay has completely been eliminated from society because we have the internet. Now, some people are going to say not everybody has internet. That is very much true, but it's become easier and easier if you live in countries like the United States of America, the United Kingdom. If you do live in countries like that, it has become easier and easier to be able to take something that you want to do and get access to the internet. You have coffee shops, you have libraries, and a lot of times these Wi-Fi things, they don't go off at night. So I talked about this a little bit earlier, and to me, this is the biggest game changer because as an older Gen Z, as a millennial, I've literally watched things happen from the point of going from Ask Jeeves, let me know if you know about that, to being able to go to Google, to being able to look things up on YouTube, how I just kind of described. And now we've gotten to a point where you can literally have a personal assistant in your pocket. You can literally have ChatGPT in your pocket, free, may I add, free. You can literally say, pose as a fitness coach and teach me what I should be doing for the next 6 to 7 months to lose this many pounds. You can literally create a coach in seconds in your pocket. The access to information that has been learned by this AI machine, I mean, from thousands and thousands and thousands of sources, probably by now millions of sources, the access is unlike anything that we've ever seen. I mean, it is mind-blowing to just know how easy it is to just find anything out that we want to find out from an expert's perspective just with AI. What if you wanted to get started with YouTube? Guess what? You can have AI write you a script. You can have AI critique your script. You can have AI tell you your strategy for your channel. You can have AI write out a business plan. You can have AI say, this is something that I'm struggling with in my videos, so I want you as a coach to be able to improve this part of my videos. You can literally consult with AI as if you're paying someone to come in and help you succeed. And the key to this is not going to be just simply using AI and just setting it and forgetting it and saying, now I have what I have. The key to it is using your own creativity that we had before AI. If you're watching this video and you're understanding everything that I'm saying, you probably were around before we had ChatGPT. So the key to this is using that same creativity that you had before you knew about ChatGPT and mixing it in with the generative AI, and then you have amazing ideas. Imagine if you don't have the stamina to write a book. Well, now you do. Now you do, because you can write your manuscript, you can come up with the ideas, and you can take it step by step. And you can literally, people are really writing books with ChatGPT. And these are people that have never been able to write books. They would have never been able to do that. And now we have access, and we will have access in the future to thousands of pieces of work that we would have never gotten if it weren't for generative AI. A lot of people say, I just don't have access to the people that can make me successful. You know, this person over here in this area, maybe Los Angeles, they have access to a bunch of YouTubers. They have access to Hollywood. They walk past millionaires every day. I just don't have that. I live in a smaller town in the middle of nowhere. Well, guess what? You still have the internet. This is the trend here. You have the internet. You can connect with almost anybody. Now, of course, there's a barrier with some people like celebrities or some people like that, but I've reached out to psychologists, professors, and learned things just through email. And that's been available for a very long time. And besides email, you have things like YouTube, where things are already recorded from you, from the people that you would have never been able to pay to go to see their conference. You would have never been able to pay to see, let's say, Stephen Hawking. Rest in peace, Stephen Hawking. Let's say you wanted to see him talk. You can look him up and you can see one of his seminars. That is something that you would have never been able to do unless you bought it on DVD or something and they made it available. These days, you can find out things from the smartest people in human history in literally seconds. Literally seconds. So there is nobody in the world, in any time, in any place, anywhere, as long as that person has lived and breathed and their thoughts were recorded, you have access to it. You have access to it. So gone are the days where you just didn't have the connections to help you succeed. Gone are those days. Gen Z, more than any generation, has really just mastered the ability to connect with people anywhere in the world. Like, I literally see teenagers these days connecting with people across the world just casually, and they don't think anything of it, just because they're so used to the internet that it's so easy to connect with anybody, so easy to translate what you're saying. Your phones these days can literally, you can just talk to and talk back. It's so simple these days. So you cannot use this as an excuse that you don't have access to the people that you need to hear from. The biggest problem with Gen Z, and the biggest barrier that Gen Z is going to have to overcome, is the high cost of living. And when you look at how jobs are increasing their salaries and how the cost of living is going up, it's going to be like this forever. It's going to be very difficult to use just one job to do this. It's just going to be very difficult to do. So something that Gen Z has done better than almost any other generation that I've seen is just entrepreneurship through the internet. You see 19-year-old kids, you see 20-year-old kids, you see all these people who are young people who are multi-millionaires using the internet, using YouTube, using Spotify. I mean, every other week you see a new kid on Spotify teaching you about dropshipping, building a course, driving a Lamborghini. These things are possible. Not everybody is going to become a millionaire, but I promise you that it is definitely possible for you to make something that is close to a livable income through an internet business. You have something that you're good at that you can turn into a business. Now, it doesn't even have to be something that replaces your full-time job, but it can be something on the side that you're good enough or you're passionate enough about to where you can turn that into some sort of income online. There's just way too many resources that we've talked about that can prevent you from doing that. So just imagine you make trinkets. You make trinkets that attach to keychains. In the past, if you made those trinkets and you couldn't find anybody in your town to buy them, nobody is going to buy them. You're not going to be able to sell it. Nowadays, you can find people in other states that'll buy it. And even more, you can find people in an entirely different country. You can literally keep track of trends that are going on in entirely different countries, and you can target those audiences in different countries to sell what you make. You can be someone who loves fly fishing. I don't know anything about fly fishing, but maybe you love fly fishing, and maybe you live in the middle of the country where maybe there's not much access to it, and maybe there's lakes, whatever. Anyway, you're someplace where nobody fly fishes. You can teach a fly fishing course online to people who are interested. You are not contained to your local market. You're not contained to anything but what your mind can come up with. Gen Z, more than any generation, is purpose driven. How many times have you gotten on TikTok and seen something like, Gen Z is quiet quitting. Gen Z is not really interested in working. Gen Z is lazy. Well, guess what? It appears this way because Gen Z is not necessarily interested in a lot of these 9-to-5 jobs. A lot of these jobs aren't fulfilling, and you know what can be fulfilling? Taking what you do when you leave your job that you just think is, I just do this, and turning it into what you can do all the time, or something that you can do on the side of your job that when next year comes and these layoffs come, because they always come for our generation, you're not necessarily affected too much by it because you're making $3,000 or $4,000 a month, from your business, and you can take your time and look for your next job. So I would really encourage people to look into starting some sort of business that you can leverage all the resources that we have these days to be successful. Could be starting a YouTube channel completely free. So let's be real, change is always happening. But again, when you take a look at my generation, Gen Z, when you take a special look at Zillennials, again, I alluded to this earlier on in the video, but we have gone from dial-up to where there were a bunch of beeps and we had to wait 5 minutes for our internet to turn on, and then if someone picked up the phone, the internet turned off. And then we went to the GameCube, and we went to the PlayStation, and then we got the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360, and we thought that was incredible. And then we got Xbox One and PS4, and we thought that was incredible. Now we're on the PS5. So many things have happened. We saw phones go from a flip phone to a keyboard phone to now we have a touchscreen phone. We have seen things evolve so much, and that is an advantage that Gen Z has. We grew up with most of the technology that we have around us. We've noticed how MacBooks have changed, and I'm pointing to my MacBook like you can see it, but we've noticed how MacBooks have changed, how cameras have changed, how phones have changed, and we've had to adapt in such a short time, more than any generation has had to adapt. So why can't you adapt to what's going on in this world? Why can't you adapt and be able to succeed in a world that isn't necessarily designed for you to use the same game plan that your parents, your grandparents use? It's not working, folks. It's not working. You can't just go to school, go to college, work 40 years, and retire. It's not working anymore. So we got to come up with something new. The odds are definitely stacked against us. The reality is this generation also has more resources than anybody else has had really in history. So what do you think? Is Gen Z really doomed, or is Gen Z going to change the world forever? You let me know what you think down in the comments. In the meantime, check this video out on how to get started in the next 30 to 90 days.